I'm Rosalind Bell. I almost said Rosalind Ramsey. Now that really, really, really going back. But I was asked to introduce Becca and Lindsey, and I know a little bit more about Rebecca than I do Lindsey, so I might let Becca tell about Lindsey. But Becca is my second daughter, and I have 4 children, but 2 girls and 2 boys. And so Becca was always easy to get along with, always. And she really never got in trouble until she threw the softball into the window. We had, at Highland Park, they just started the softball team. And so she was on the, charter team, I guess you'd say. And she was learning to pitch. I don't know if she ever pitched, but you did. Oh, great. Okay. Yes. And so she didn't get a whole lot of trouble, but the window was in her bedroom, so she had to sleep with a broken window. And that's about all I remember her getting in trouble about. It wasn't trouble, but anyway, she graduated from Highland Park, and then she went. That was the summer that we moved to Mount Vernon, back home, and Becca went to Vanderbilt, and that's where she met Dan, her husband. And Becca graduated summa cum laude, and so I was proud of that. And then. She's probably going to just tell you all of this, maybe, but she moved around with the Air Force. Her husband was in the Air Force, and I had to trail after them, but I didn't mind going to visit because I do like to go. So, anyway, I just wanted to brag a little bit, I guess. I'm not one to brag, but I had to this time. Anyway, I want to introduce my darling daughter, Rebecca Bell Bentley, and Lindsey.
I am going to read that verse again, just because I think it's so powerful and it kind of really encapsulates what we're about to talk about. That's again 2 Corinthians 12, 9 and 10. My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me. That is why, for Christ's sake, I delight in weaknesses, in insults, in hardships, in persecutions, in difficulties. For when I am weak, then I am strong. So, Lindsey and I met in 2020 when I started working at the clinic here in Mount Vernon, and we got along good pretty quick. We were right next to each other, and we had a lot of COVID, y'all. Remember all that. We were standing right there next to each other, and you would slap my hand, and I would make fun of your Harvard phone voice. We just got along really well. And so we kind of got to know each other, and she told me a lot about her family at the time and her precious baby boy.
Yes. I was going through a lot when I met Becca. And she's really been a blessing, for sure. My son was born September 16th, 2019, and he was born with a brain condition. And it caused seizures, and he just had no quality of life, really. It was a really hard as a first-time mother. And
you had to have nurses there with him 24 hours a day, right?
yes.
Yeah. And he was so precious. There he is. His name was Ace. He's really sweet.
Yes. Yeah, it was rough. I was in a very, very dark place. I thought God had abandoned me, and I was mad. And it was just really hard.
How old was he when you lost him?
He was 17 months old when he passed away. that it turned out to be a blessing, though.
Well, it was really hard for a while.
Yeah, it was rough.
Did you have people around you that helped, or how did you feel about, people trying to help you at the time?
I kind of isolated myself. I was in a very, very dark place, so I did everything myself pretty much. I mean, I had family and everything, but yeah, I didn't get out much or anything. It was just, it consumed my life, for sure. And, yeah, I was just...
And there was a turning point you told me about.
I'm trying to keep it together. That's why I'm not saying much. I'm trying
She's
not
being
to just
so
cry
brave. I'm
up here.
amazed at her.
I've never spoke about this out loud, especially not to a group of people. Ace made me realize how precious life is. In just one moment you can be gone and it can be over. And it just made me look at life differently. And so, God spoke to me some type of way and was just told me that he had to make this drastic, life-changing thing happen so I would realize that life is not just something to take for granted, and that I need to, he knew what he was doing the whole time. He was not trying to hurt me. He was there the whole time. And it took a while to just trust him. But after he passed, I became closer to him. And help me out here.
And so I'm trying to remember the day that you came in and you said that you were pregnant again.
Okay. So after Ace passed, like I said, I was in a dark place. I was suicidal, and I was planning it out and everything. Because I didn't want to be here without Ace. And the day before I was planning to do this, I took a pregnancy test. I don't know why. I really have no idea why. And it came back positive. And I had mixed emotions about that, of course, because I had just lost Ace 2 months before that. And it took me a while to accept that, this, I can't go be with Ace. I have a baby now. And, it just changed my life. God really changed my life. He took it away. He showed me what love was, so I could give it all to Swayze and teach him that he can trust God. It just really did a whole lot for me, for sure.
I don't know if you guys remember the Acts study that we had back in 2020, 2021. And I think there's some people here that were in my group, like Polly and Holly and Mom, and we all prayed for her at the time. And I just think it's amazing how God used something so hard. I can't imagine going through what you went through and already having this understanding that God used that in your life to glorify him. I think that's amazing that you have that perspective already. That's a mother's worst nightmare, and for you to be able to see Swayze as that joy and God's work in your life is amazing.
Yeah. It took that major life-changing thing. I'm hard-headed. I always have been. He had to do that so that I would be the mom I am today. And just yeah, life couldn't be better now. For sure.
He's so sweet. There he is, little Swayze. So if you were talking to you from, right after you had lost Ace, what would you tell yourself?
That's a hard one.
Yeah. I just know that the more and more pregnant you got with Swayze, the more joy every day I could see in your face, and it was amazing. I couldn't imagine going through what you did, and to see that you embrace it and trust God like that was amazing.
I don't know what I would say to that. I had a lot to say, but this is kind of nerve-wracking. And I'm trying not to cry, so. Yeah, I would just say trust God.
Mm-hmm.
He never does anything without a reason, for sure. Yeah.
Your story is amazing, and I'm sure it's still so hard to talk about. I want to thank you for sharing your story, because your friendship to me has been such a light. I don't think you know how powerful it is to have someone at work that I can talk to about God, because it's busy up there, guys. It's hard, but
Becca,
you've just been such a blessing to me.
You used to tell me about God all the time, and at the time I would be like, "Oh, Becca, here she goes again." Same with my grandmother. She's just always just pushed it on me, push. And I never really, I would just always be like, oh, here we go. But I'm so glad you kept on and did not stop. Same for my grandmother, because we all need God, for sure.
Mm-hmm. I think for me, it's like, I did pray for you, and I knew that I should, but it wasn't anything grandiose, or like, I prayed for you, and it was just that little bit of obedience, and you guys prayed for her too. It made such an impact, and I think there's something we can learn from that those little nudges from God, whether you feel like an idiot or you think the other person is going to be like, oh, here she goes again about God. Like, it's okay to be embarrassed and uncomfortable and do it anyway, because it can make a big difference in someone else's life.
For sure. I'm so glad you didn't give up. I'm so thankful for that.
Well, it's just like,
because people need that, even when they think they don't.
Yeah, I mean, just little broken, imperfect, wayward me. It's encouraging to know that even God can use me, Yeah. And now in your home, how do you feel like this is, how do you talk about it with Swayze?
Oh my goodness. He's a smart little 3-year-old. He knows a lot. He asks a lot of questions. He heard about the devil the other day. I can't remember what he said, but that followed. We talked about the devil for about 30 minutes. And how do you explain that to a 3-year-old? I mean, so I had to redirect him, mm-hmm. and just tell him all about it. We read the Bible every night. He has a stuffed Jesus that he listens to Bible verses on every single night, and he really enjoys it. He does. And I'm just planting that seed in him, because growing up, my parents made us go to church every Sunday. And as a kid, you just go, because you have to. And so when I grew up and they weren't making me go to church anymore, I didn't go. But it was that foundation that was laid when I was a kid of going to church and just being there, that I knew about God and I knew what I was supposed to do. So it sticks with kids, so that was really important for me to just be consistent with it and just plant that seed so he'll know God is with him always. And he can always turn to him even when he gets lost, you know. I still had God in the back of my mind, even when I was not visiting with him all the time. So.
Is there anything else you want to say about it? I mean, I think it's just such an amazing story that you've been through, and you're so brave.
I wish I could have explained it better or how I envisioned this would go, but it's hard to talk about. So it's just a hard one. I've never spoke this out loud before, so thank y'all for having me, for sure.
Yeah, well, thank you guys for listening, and I just hope that that you see the power of pain in our lives and the power of the journey that God has us on, that the timing sometimes seems weird or horrible or painful, and he's using all of that for his good, and the ripple effect that you are going to have to the people around you and your son and his friends is amazing. And I'm just so thankful that you had the bravery to tell this story, because it's so encouraging to me to see God's power through you. So thank you.
Thank you.